There's a guy named Mike Tyson. He was the heavyweight champion of the world. He wasn't the tallest, but he was able to become the heavyweight champion of the world. There are there are essentially two types of there are two types of uh, there are essentially two types of things that occurs in the market. Okay, so the market either goes this, or this. Okay, it does that, and one of them is called trending. Okay, it's trending. It is trending, which means that it's going from one location to another location, or a trend can also be something that goes sideways. That's the trend. Something that could go down. That's also a trend too. So there are a couple of concepts that are prevalent in trading. Okay, one of them is called trending. The other thing is called boxing. Okay, there are two things that occurs: boxing and trending. Okay, very similar to what happens to pullbacks and reversals. These are true and factual that happens all the time in the market. I'm just looking at this right here. I'm looking at EU. It's currently downtrending, but while it's downtrending, what it's doing is it's mixing things up. Like trending, there's a pullback, and there's a slight reversal too. Okay, but true reversal does not occur until it hits the point where that downtrend was established. Okay, so when uh, there is a significant reversion, then there's a reversal, right? So then I'm looking at AU. It's moving sideways. It's boxed in. It's in a box. I'm also looking at EG. Currently, it's also in a box. I'm looking at UJ. It actually trended up. I took part of that to fill a 0.5% gain. And then I'm looking at the UC, which is the inversely correlated to EU. So EU is going down, trending down. I mean, it's imploding. UC is going up, so it's trending. Okay. And then I'm looking at the US 100, which is the Nasdaq. It's boxed. It was trending. Now it's going sideways. US 30 is similar. It's boxed in, but it's mixed in together like that. So essentially, trading is trading. It's amazing to me. I didn't realize this, the correlation that occurs between real life and day trading. And one of the concepts that I've understood now, what I understood is something called, there's a couple things of INGs. Okay, ING is one of the, I think it's one of the banks. I think it's one of the banks. ING is one of the global national banks or something, right? ING. Okay, there's two words that stand right in front of it. What's called trend, and the other is box. Okay, so essentially, not too many people talk about like box. They call it a range bound situation. But what's happening is that uh, in trading there are two prominent concepts. One of them is called trending. The other is called boxing. Okay, and knowing the difference, and getting into early onset of a trend, just like today. I mean, if I had gotten in like early on today, the price of 0.77319 right there, that's where the breakout occurred on UC. Had I gotten in, I would have ridden that trend, and most likely passed anything. Okay, and same goes on the reverse side of EU. If I was on the other side of it, starting at the price of 1.18, okay, and I rode it all the way down to 1.175. I mean, that's a big move. If I have some seriously big leverage, oh, and UJ is taking off too, right? So there are two concepts, and prominent concept is called boxing. Boxing. Okay, I haven't heard too many people talk about what boxing is, right? Boxing is not just with Evander Holyfield or Mike Tyson, but it is also for people like us. We do boxing. I box. Okay, so it's good. See, when you're boxing, your brain gets hemorrhaged a lot because if you're standing in front of Mike Tyson and he punches you in the head, I mean, you're going to get some brain damage. Okay, you're going to get brain damage if you get punched by Mike Tyson. But in trading, there are some similarities because there is a psychological component to trading which causes some brain damage to occur because if you don't figure this out, if you do not understand the implications of subconscious and the logical side and how it impacts you on while you're making a trade, and the thing called like FOMO and things like that, and when you get into a tilt state, and then you're like, I mean, things could happen that cause the brain to be in a severely compromised situation, right? Just like boxing, right? I didn't realize, I had not realized the correlation between trading and boxing. Okay, so when people ask me, so what do you do now? What I can say is that I'm in boxing. Okay, I'm a boxer. Okay, I box. Okay, I am a box. I also trend too, but most likely when trend starts, I exit way too early in many of the instances, right? Because I want to protect my gains. So I had no idea, but in reality, the things that I'm doing as a trader essentially is boxing as well, right? Boxing. I'm currently still on the demo, and uh, I'm making some. See, with these emotions set aside, now purely looking into now, it's essentially just peeling away the subjectivity of what I'm doing, and then looking at it, just looking at things on an objective way. And then when I trade, I'm looking at it in an objective manner, and also attempting to make sure that I'm trading it the way that I need to be trading, using the right techniques, using the right risk. In that respects, trading will be a useful form once I carry it over to a live trading. Right now, uh, the intent, and the plan is to keep going with this. Okay, keep going with this with the attempt essentially to pass 10 times on the demo. Okay, without failing in between. And once I do that, that means that I have the edge. I have established the edge. I have the edge. Then I'm confirming that I have the edge, and then I can move forward with live accounts. And then as I start to carry this momentum into the live accounts, starting with the small, and then the small paying for the bigger, and then the bigger paying for the even bigger, and then the even bigger paying for the even bigger, until I reach a point where I'm satisfied. I'm making consistent returns. And then once I start to make consistent returns, then I'll get to the point where I'm satisfied with my current skill set in trading. And when I'm satisfied with my current skill set in trading, then I'll get to the point where I am now looking for something. Then I'll get to the point where I'm looking for the glory. Okay, I'm looking for that championship match. Okay, but at the beginning of it, it is to make a living off of it, get get consistent revenue stream from it, and then once I get to that point, then I can look into seeking out the fame and the glory of trading, just like boxing. What did Mike Tyson say? He says something like this. He said, "Everything is peachy and rosy until you get punched in the face." That's what he said. But when you got a man like that, when you got somebody like that, when you have a man who has the ability to knock you out with a single punch, right? That's some serious business. Okay. So when somebody asks me, so what's your occupation? My occupation is boxing. Okay, and trending. Oh, not that way, but but this way. Okay.